Hi guys and welcome to Food Review UK Recipes. In this edition we're making chili con carne. Here's a list of the ingredients. Now if you had a smaller garlic than this, I would use probably somewhere in the region of 2 cloves, probably if it was any smaller than this, but this is a fairly large garlic, so cut it quite finely. You can cut your onion quite large if you'd like to, it's really up to you. For me, I like it fairly thin, so I cut the bottom off so that it stands still. Then do a few lines through that piece, get rid of those root bits, and then just like that. You can do this trick, cut a few lines down that way. I usually go 3/4 in, and then stab your knife in across that way to create a crisscross, and then finally one down there and there, and then when you cut through, being careful that you've got it all together. It does all the hard work for you essentially, and you might get bits like that where you just need to straighten it up. Put your ring onto a high heat and get your pan on there. Pop a splash of oil in and then wait for that to heat up a little bit. Whilst you're waiting for the pan to heat up, you can do things such as open your cans of chopped tomatoes. I'm just going to put the onion in, not the garlic. If we put the garlic in straight away, it's going to burn. So you can really cook the onions until they go nice and brown. This stage of the cooking is really up to you, however you like the level. So this is the important bit, all the different spices. You want cracked black pepper or fresh black pepper, chili powder, your level of heat, cumin, ground cumin, cinnamon, all important oregano. I would use smoked paprika, but I only have paprika, so it's going to have to be that. Salt and white pepper and a bay leaf. Now I want to cut up the pepper. You're going to want it to be quite fairly thinly chopped really. You don't really want it to maintain its texture. You want it to be quite soft in the chili. You can actually use red pepper. Obviously there's nothing even stopping you if you're cooking higher quantities. I mean, I'm only cooking for 2 quite hungry people, but if you're cooking for, you know, family of 4, I would say pad out the ingredients. You know, use a couple of onions, double the mince, and I'd say pad it out with a couple of peppers. I would use red and green. I'd say if you're only going to use one type, use green because it adds just a slightly different depth of flavour than just using the red. You almost get red pepper flavour from using paprika. So this, for me, in a chili, I'd always say green pepper. So as you can see, I've got really a good amount of brown colouring on the onion there now. I would say you really don't want to go too much further than that because, I mean, that's nice and caramelised and that adds a nice depth of flavour, but you don't want to go too much further than that. Then we put in the beef mince. So in there we've already got the onion and the garlic. So now we're just going to fry off the mince. You don't want to fry this off straight from the fridge because the meat will be too cold. So you want to leave it out, get it to room temperature, a little bit colder. As I'm trying to be a little bit healthier, I'm using extra lean beef mince. Gives off a lot less fat, but I would actually recommend using regular mince and simply draining off the excess fat. When that fat comes off of the meat, it helps to cook all the other vegetables that you've got in there. So the onions, you know, the garlic, the peppers, and this just enhances the flavour, particularly of the onions. It just brings the whole thing together. So I would say use regular mince rather than extra lean, but it's still going to be delicious even with this extra lean beef mince. When you've got the meat nice and browned, I'm going to pour off the excess fat. Now we'll put in the pepper, and at this stage you can also put in the tomato puree. You want about a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons in there, and you want to mix that in. It can tend to have a fairly bitter taste, so you want to stir that into the meat and the veg and everything in there and cook it out for a few minutes. Also let that pepper soften just to stay for a few minutes before we can add the other spices and ingredients. So that's tomato puree is nicely cooked away. We pour in the chopped tomatoes. No problem whatsoever to put the kidney beans in straight away. I know a lot of recipes tell you to do it later. Don't bother with it, you're faffing around, you don't need to. Pour in about 400 millilitres of beef stock, and we can put our spices in as well. So we do 1 tablespoon of chili powder, which is also the same measurement as 3 teaspoons. So 1, 2, 3. Just going to mix that up. 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. 1 teaspoon of oregano. 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. If you're not crazy about cinnamon, you can use about half a teaspoon, but it does help to give a nice exotic taste to the chili, and it sounds unusual, but it does really work. A whack of white pepper. You want a good teaspoon of salt. You want to be able to taste it. It sounds like a lot, an entire teaspoon, but you want to be able to taste it. A good load of freshly cracked or freshly ground black pepper. Black pepper goes extremely well with beef, so you want a lot. The bay leaf. And about 2 teaspoons of sugar. Okay, now obviously you've got quite a lot of liquid in there. So this will take probably somewhere in the region of 20 to kind of 35 minutes to reduce down. You might want it a little bit liquidy. It's going to be quite thick no matter what, because of all of the spices that you've got in there. That helps to thicken it up. So yeah, leave it to cook for however long you prefer, thickness wise. What I'll also say is we haven't even changed the temperature of the hob. It's been on high the whole time. There's really no need to change it. It's just more faff. So make it as easy as possible for yourself. And yeah, just leave that to do its thing. So we're coming towards the end now. As you can see, this is reduced down nicely. If we move away that, you can actually see the bottom of the pan, and the liquid doesn't really cover it back up too immediately. So it's getting to the consistency that I like. We've got our rice cooking as well. At this point we can discard the bay leaf. And it's worth noting that I've come back to this about 2 or 3 times to give it a good stir. You want to make sure that you scrape the bottom just in case it becomes a bit thick or a bit stuck at the bottom. Okay, so the chili is now ready and I will serve it up. And here is the finished article, the final meal, chili con carne. I'll try it now and tell you what I think. Okay, so here we go, guys. Really love combination of textures. The pepper has just enough give. The meat is nice, rich, and I love the texture of mince, really nice. The the sauce itself is very velvety. You've got the beans that give a nice nuttiness. In terms of flavour, it's got a nice balance of sweetness. Nice level of heat from the tablespoon of chili powder. Again, you can make that hotter. You can put some cayenne pepper if you like. It's got that sweetness from the cinnamon and the sugar and the tomatoes, which works really well with everything. And then the pepper, both black and white, gives it a nice, almost rounded heatness. It's really nice. Guys, check out this recipe. Give it a whirl. Thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe for more recipes.